Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on a journey to unravel the truth behind Danish appearance. You know the classic image, right? Tall, blonde, blue-eyed. That's kind of the stereotype many of us carry in our minds when we conjure up a picture of Danes. But if you've ever actually wandered through, say, the bustling streets of Copenhagen or maybe Aarhus or even a town like Odense, you've probably noticed something that subtly challenges that neat little box we've built. Yes, you'll definitely see those golden curls and that glowing porcelain skin, for sure. But then you also spot people with maybe sandy brown hair, perhaps a touch of olive undertone to their skin, or even eyes that are more almond-shaped than, wide-set blue. And you might pause thinking, wait, is that really Danish? Cool. What our deep dive truly illuminates is that the story behind Denmark's appearances, well, is far more intricate and compelling than just Vikings had great genes. We're about to peel back the layers on a rich, complex narrative. It's woven with threads from ancient ice ages, historical wars, fascinating waves of migration, even whispers of royal bloodlines, and yes, a dash of contemporary controversy that's playing out right now.
Exactly. Our mission in this deep dive is really to move beyond those easy, almost simplistic stereotypes. We're going to unpack all of this, guided by what researchers, genetic scientists, and historians have actually discovered. In their meticulous studies, in the historical records, it's a much richer picture than you might expect, honestly.
Okay, let's unpack this. To truly unravel this fascinating tapestry of Danish appearance, to understand why it's so much more than just Vikings had great genes, we have to start right at the beginning. Denmark's unique geography. It literally shaped its genetic destiny. It's not just a country, it's practically a literal and figurative bridge, connecting Northern Europe to the rest of the continent. Think about it. It sits right at the meeting point of the North Sea and the Baltic. It's essentially linking the Germanic heartlands to the Nordic north.
And a key insight here is how that geographical position acts as a true crossroads. Researchers tell us that populations situated at such intersections, they tend to exhibit what they call hybrid features. They're often balanced, rather than showing sort of extreme characteristics, because they've absorbed genetic influences from multiple directions. And Danes are a prime example of this. A significant 2020 genome study. It didn't just confirm strong Scandinavian ancestry, it revealed a staggering 25% of the modern Danish genome actually originates from Central European and Baltic populations.
25%? Wow.
This is particularly linked to Germanic and Slavic migrations that occurred way back in the early Iron Age.
So if you, like me, were still picturing a pure Viking lineage, well, it sounds like this study just threw a delightful wrench in that whole idea.
Pretty much.
It fundamentally rewrites that pure Viking narrative we thought we knew. It shows the genetic story is clearly far more intricate, a beautiful tapestry woven over millennia, really, not a single unbroken thread. So with that broad genetic landscape in mind, let's dive into some of those specific physical characteristics, starting with skin tone. Many of us associate Danes with that iconic Nordic glow, very fair skin.
And for good reason. Denmark really does rank exceptionally high globally for fair-skin phototypes.
Yeah.
If you look at the Fitzpatrick scale, which is what scientists use to classify skin based on its reaction to sun, well, most Danes fall under type I or II.
Right, the very fair types.
Exactly. Very fair, tends to burn easily. A 2018 study by the Copenhagen University Hospital found that a whopping 81% of Danes possessed Fitzpatrick type I or II skin.
81%, that's huge.
It really is. To put that in perspective, that's significantly lighter than Germany's 72%.
Okay.
And perhaps most surprisingly, even lighter than Sweden's 76%.
So for our listeners planning a trip to Denmark, consider this your official warning. SBUS 50 is not optional.
Definitely good advice.
It's a stark reminder of just how profoundly their ancestors adapted to those northern latitudes, right? Minimizing melanin for vitamin D absorption.
Precisely. And here's where it gets really interesting, a subtle twist in the narrative.
Oh.
The southern regions of Denmark, particularly Jutland, actually show slightly darker averages.
Huh. Why is that?
This isn't random. It's due to what scientists call genetic drift, like a population's genetic makeup subtly shifting over time. It comes from ancient Celts and more modern Germans. During the 19th century, there was heavy intermarriage along the borderlands with Schleswig-Holstein,
Oh, okay.
which introduced more melanin-rich alleles, essentially, the genetic variations for slightly darker skin tones into the population.
I see.
So while that porcelain skin is common, it's not quite universal across the entire country. There's nuance there.
So, with skin tone, we've already seen how diverse and nuanced the Danish reality is compared to the stereotype. Now, let's turn our gaze quite literally to another iconic feature, those famously Scandinavian blue eyes. Does that stereotype hold up as strongly?
It absolutely holds up, at least in terms of dominance.
Mhm.
Genetic studies from 2017 confirm that around 64% of Danes have blue eyes.
64%. Still very high.
Oh yeah, placing them among the highest globally. To give you some context, that's significantly higher than the UK, which is at 48%,
Right.
slightly more than the Netherlands at 60%, and just edging out Norway at 62%. So yeah, the blue eye stereotype has strong statistical backing.
But I sense a but coming.
Well, yes. Another intriguing aspect reveals the growing diversity we're seeing. A more recent 2022 survey of Danish teenagers showed a noticeable shift. 62% still had blue eyes, okay? But 22% reported green or hazel, and 16% had brown eyes.
16% brown.
Yeah.
That's quite a jump.
It is. And this isn't just a consequence of modern immigration, although that certainly contributes. Historians point out that Danish royalty over centuries frequently married into Central European and Slavic nobility.
Ah, the royal factor.
Exactly. This effectively imported diverse genes into the population long before what we consider modern migration even began. It's fascinating how deep these historical roots go.
And now let's address the golden elephant in the room. Blonde hair. Does Denmark truly live up to its reputation for being a nation of blondes?
Statistically, yeah, the stereotype largely holds. Denmark boasts one of the highest rates of natural blonde hair in the world. Researchers estimate that somewhere between 60% and 70% of Danes are naturally blonde or maybe light brown.
Okay, so still a majority.
Definitely. But similar to eye color and skin, hair color isn't a static trait. A 2021 survey of Danish youth, those aged 16 to 25, offered a more nuanced picture.
How so?
While 46% identified as light blonde and 24% as dark blonde, that's 70% blonde right there.
Yep.
A significant 17% reported medium brown hair. We also see 7% with red tones and 6% with black or dark brown hair.
So almost a quarter with brown or darker hair in that age group.
Exactly. And what's significant about these numbers isn't just the presence of darker shades today, but the historical context. Denmark's medieval population actually had more variation than our current popular myths suggest.
Really? Not all Vikings were blonde.
Not at all. For instance, Viking warriors often had reddish or even dark hair. The idea of straw blonde being dominant 1,000 years ago is largely a popular culture construct, not historical reality.
That's a great myth buster.
And just a quick final note on hair. Beyond color, there's texture. While many Danes fit the stereotype of straight, fine hair, about
Yeah.
1 in 5, around 22%, actually exhibit mild waves or even soft curls.
Interesting.
Yeah, and again, this often correlates with those historical Celtic or maybe Dutch ancestral lines, showing how deeply these threads are woven into the genetic fabric.
That's a fantastic breakdown of individual traits. But when you synthesize all of that, the skin, the eyes, the hair, those historical currents, does it actually coalesce into a recognizable Danish face? What do sculptors and facial anthropologists who literally map these features tell us?
Well, facial morphology studies, essentially scientific examinations of facial structures, they describe a very particular harmony of soft and angular features. Typically, you'll find high cheekbones, strong but often narrow jawlines, straight and relatively long noses, eyes that range from almond to round, and broad but smooth foreheads.
Okay.
It's a look that's often characterized as both striking and, well, understated. Sharp angles softened by what some call a kind of Nordic restraint.
Striking and understated. I like that.
But this isn't to say there's uniformity. Findings from Aarhus University in 2020, using these same studies, revealed that while about 70% of Danes fell within a shared common facial index, a notable 30% displayed what they called hybrid traits.
30%. So what kind of traits are we talking about?
These could manifest as, say, Slavic jawlines, maybe Celtic noses, or Germanic brows. And this variation, if we connect this back to the bigger picture, it traces back to two main historical streams. First, the Viking expansion between the 8th and 11th centuries, which brought back features from places like Britain, Ireland, even Southern Europe.
Right, the raiding and trading.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And second, the extensive trade conducted by the Hanseatic League, that powerful medieval alliance of merchant cities with northern Germans and Dutch sailors, that also introduced new genetic influences.
Oh, So that Dane you see with subtly slanted eyes or a slightly wider set jaw, that's not an anomaly.
Not at all.
That's history quite literally staring you in the face. It's a living, breathing testament to those historical movements.
Precisely.
Now, let's move to one stereotype that, in this case, seems completely true. Danish height. Are Danes really that tall?
Oh, absolutely. Danes are consistently among the tallest people on Earth, no question. The average male height in Denmark is an impressive 181.4 centimeters. That's about 5 feet 11 and a half inches. And for females, the average is 167.2 centimeters, or 5 feet 6 inches. Globally, really only the Dutch typically edge them out in average height.
Okay, so why? Is it just genes?
Well, that's the important question. Geneticists confirm that it's partly DNA. These tall alleles, the genetic variations for height, are highly prevalent in Scandinavian gene pools. That's true, but environment matters significantly too, hugely in fact.
Like what?
Think about Denmark's high-protein diet, rich in dairy and fish. Combine that with universal healthcare access, low childhood illness rates. All of that supports optimal growth during development. Now, here's a real aha moment. While Danes are among the tallest today, a century ago, it was different.
Oh.
A 1900s anthropological survey showed the average male height was only 170 centimeters. That's nearly 11 centimeters shorter than today.
11 centimeters, that's huge.
It's enormous. This isn't just about genes, it's a dramatic growth explosion. It powerfully illustrates how much nutrition and social welfare can literally reshape a population within just a few generations.
That's truly fascinating that height, which feels so inherent, is actually quite a modern development, relatively speaking.
Exactly.
So for listeners who've always thought Danes are just genetically programmed to be tall, this really shifts that perception, doesn't it?
It really should.
Does this growth explosion imply other traits could change dramatically in future generations too?
It absolutely does. It highlights that even seemingly stable physical traits are dynamic. They can change. It's a powerful reminder that human populations are constantly adapting, and what we consider typical today might look very different tomorrow, especially with continued changes in environment, diet, and of course, global migration patterns.
Right. Okay, let's stir the pot a little now and talk about a current controversy maybe brewing in Denmark. With increasing immigration over the past, say, 30 years, particularly from the Middle East, Africa, and Southeast Asia, there's a real debate taking shape, isn't there, around the question, who gets to look Danish?
Yes, and what's truly compelling here is the divergence of viewpoints. It's quite stark sometimes. On one side, you have some, perhaps more conservative politicians promoting a rather prescriptive idea of a cultural appearance, blonde hair, blue eyes, tall stature, aligning with that classic stereotype.
The old image.
Right. However, scientists and sociologists, they largely reject this notion. They point to the complex genetic history we've just discussed, which shows Denmark has always been a crossroads. It's never been static.
And the demographics back that up.
Oh, definitely. The evidence for changing appearances is quite clear. Denmark's own demographic office estimates that by 2040, up to 18% of the population will have non-European ancestry.
18%, that's nearly 1 in 5.
Exactly. And we're already seeing this in action. Currently, 14% of children in Copenhagen primary schools have at least one parent born outside Europe.
And these are children who presumably speak Danish, live Danish lives, eat rye bread, bike everywhere. So the question these facts really raise isn't just about who looks Danish anymore. It's shifting, isn't it, to who feels Danish.
That's the heart of it.
It's that friction between biology, history, and evolving identity playing out in real time across the country. It's asking us to reconsider the very definition of national identity.
And that, you see, is the quiet drama of Danish diversity.
Okay.
Beneath that famously reserved, understated culture, there's a quiet revolution taking place in genetics, in identity, and ultimately in appearance.
A quiet revolution. I like that phrasing.
The diversity of Denmark isn't loud or flamboyant. It's slow. It's subtle. But it is absolutely undeniable. You see it, for example, in the cafe owner in Aalborg, with jet black hair and fluent Danish, whose family might have roots from Turkey, but whose life is deeply Danish. You see it in the red-headed girl from Ribe, whose family has lived on the same farm for 400 years, a testament to those ancient Celtic influences we talked about.
Right.
And you see it in the Sudanese-Danish model, gracing billboards in Aarhus, truly redefining what Nordic beauty can look like in the 21st century. These are all threads in the evolving tapestry of Danish identity. It's happening right now.
This raises such a powerful question for all of us, really. What if we stop thinking of national appearance as something to protect, something to rigidly define and guard, and instead thought of it as something simply to observe, something that is, by its very nature, dynamic and ever-changing.
Exactly. Researchers emphasize that physical traits, our skin, our hair, our eyes, and iris, they're ultimately just the visible echoes of adaptation.
Echoes of adaptation.
And adaptation, by its definition, means change. Denmark, throughout its long history, adapted to ice ages, to invasions, to the rise and fall of empires. Its people consistently changed as the world around them changed. So what's truly compelling is to consider, why would now be any different? The current shifts are just another chapter in a very long story of human adaptability. It's natural.
So what makes Denmark's people look so diverse? Maybe it's not just that they look different from each other, it's that they look like what Denmark has always been, a country on the edge.
That's a great way to put it.
On the edge of continents, on the edge of culture, on the edge of history. It's a place where Vikings once sailed south to explore new worlds, bringing back new influences. And now, in a beautiful mirroring twist of fate, the world arrives north, enriching Denmark's story in ways both visible and, well, profound. So next time you see a Dane, don't just look. Notice. Notice the story etched in their features, the blend of old and new, the sea wind in their cheekbones, the wheat field in their hair, the whole world in their eyes. And maybe, just maybe, ask yourself, if the Danish face is evolving, perhaps all of ours are too, because beauty, like Denmark itself, is always, always in motion.